up, everybody? So, as we all know, the season's over and it's time for some updates. One update has already happened that I didn't film any because, to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. Well, I never really know what I'm doing, but didn't film it. Either way, the first update of winter is already done. I've already driven the car. After breaking my last Muncie at Midvale, we now have a T56 behind the small block. So, have a few other things in store as well. I'm going to go ahead and get these updates done. It is actually Christmas Day at the time of filming this right now. So, Merry Christmas to everybody. I have a box full of goodies. So, not everything is here yet. There's some things coming. I'll just go ahead and give a spoiler. There is a Cage Kits cage coming. I have some front over-fenders. Rear over-fenders are also on the way. And a very special little box came in the mail as well. With that being said, it is now time to get rid of the CNC 71 angle kit. There's nothing wrong with this kit, honestly. People can say what they want to. It's a plug-and-play kit sold by Drift HQ. It is based off of doing the extended E46 arms. At the time I bought it 3 years ago, it was like $700. It's great. It really is. It's if this car was just a weekend party, go out, once a month car with a 2.5 in it still, it would be more than enough. My problem I'm having now is I actually run rack stops because the inner sidewall of the tire hits the inner part of the body and it'll kill the inner part of the wheel and inner sidewall of the tire. So with doing the Wisefab, obviously it's going to get wider. I could have done the narrow kit, but I'd run into the same issue I'm having now. Plus, I have no adjustment whatsoever with this thing besides camber from my top hats of my BCs. So with the Wisefab, I'll be able to tune in my caster a little bit better. And the car doesn't drive bad now, but this will just make it drive even better. So that's what I'm going to start working on now, is going ahead and getting the Wisefab on. Took the car out for a little cruise this morning. And it's supposed to rain all week. So I figured if I don't go ahead and get a start on it now, I'll probably never get it done in time. Plus, once the cage gets here, all the interior gets completely stripped. So might as well, instead of just sitting around, it's like 60-some degrees. It's getting ready to start raining. Don't have anything else to do, so I'm going to start working on putting the Wisefab on. I've seen people knock this CNC 71 kit online, and to be honest, I don't know why. I really don't. I ran a 215/40 18 all last year. Year before that, yes, the 215 is small. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive than the 225, but it did allow clearance with these wheels. If you run a little bit wider wheel or even a narrower wheel or whatever, it would definitely help. I did end up going to a 225 because I had anticipated, Wisefab. I might end up back on 215. It just depends on how the stance is. But here's literally what it is. I mean, it's just a basic control arm kit. It uses bushings back, like you can use an offset bushing if you want back at the Lollipop. They come with their own tie rods, which you just loosen a bolt here, and you can adjust your toe. And this kit has 3 seasons on it now, 2 seasons with the small block. So as you can see, it is rather close, and that is at droop, so it gets a little bit closer when you get up to ride height. It's got a set of rack stops in it by Chad Anderson with the Kodys E46. Those were perfect. It's got 1 stop on each side. I think his kit comes with like 3 of them. And besides that, I have had no issues. Other than the fact I can't adjust caster, and that's literally just personal preference. The car self-steers good. It drives great. I've driven it from Charleston to Charlotte and back. I went and had the 2.5 in it with the single kit on it. Like, I have no issues. Like I said, the only reason I'm really even adding the Wisefab is just to give the car a little bit more drivability, tunability, and angle. Literally just personal preference. If it wasn't for trying to go to the next step, I'd just leave this on it. I'm telling you, E36, E46 guys, if you're building a budget car, this is the way to go. got the CNC kit off. It's obviously fairly dirty. So everything up here is pretty well gutted. I will take the shock off because I'll have to cut and add for the new top hat. But probably not gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna mock up, the Wisefab. Here's a quick comparison of the two. Like I said, this is based off of like an E36 arm. It actually uses like an E36 sway bar, which looks like the Wisefab will do the same. But I am going to upgrade sway bars. There's a lot more to the Wisefab kit. I mean, basics are the same, but I do like that this is like a Heim setup now, not just a straight ball joint. So it's all adjustable. It looks like that might be my lock stop. I haven't messed with Wisefab before. Really, this is the only angle kit I've ever messed with. This is the only drift car I've ever built, so I'm still learning. Wout has been a lot of help with this as well, and he'll answer anything that I ask. I'm fairly excited. I'm gonna start mocking this up. Might not, finalize everything tonight. I'm gonna try to mock something up, at least see how it's gonna look, and go from there. All right, hopefully sound's not too bad. I'm using AirPods, but got one side on. Got a couple things I got to figure out, a couple things I don't know. Regardless, it all went on really well. Down here on the bottom, this is a bolt, and see, it's already loose. So I got to figure out what the deal is with that, because that is the main pivot point of how it steers. So when you tighten it up, it obviously doesn't want to steer very well. This is threaded in here, so as you turn it to the right, obviously it tightens up. As you turn it to the left, it loosens. So that's very strange. I don't know if that's a design flaw or what, but I will find out about that. Another thing, it's been 3 years since I've had the factory control arms on here. I don't remember if the factory inners had a jam nut on them, but there's no jam nut in here. So I got to learn how, if there's a easy adjustment for the toe. It makes sense to twist this, so I'm guessing whether this kit doesn't come with it or there's a factory one. Like I said, I don't remember, because on the CNC kit it just clamps, if you remember. So I might have to put a jam nut here. That's what seems to make the most sense to me. But even at that, then there's really no way to tighten this up unless you put a jam nut on both. So a couple things I got to figure out still yet, but other than that, I'm going to throw the tire up on it. Now keep in mind, I also haven't cut the top out yet. I'd have to cut the strut tower out to add some positive camber, but I'm going to throw the tire back up on it and see what it looks like. All right, at first glance, it's not much wider than the CNC kit, but it has a lot more camber. It is a little bit wider. The strut is on full positive. That's how I ran it with the CNC kit, but I still have to cut the strut tower out more or less for this lad. So that's how much more positive camber I'll have, and overall adjustment with everything. But all in all, it's really not that much wider. I don't know that even my over-fenders I currently have will be narrow enough. So I might have to run some spacers or just buy some narrower front overs. And that is lock, which is a lot more at ride height lock than the CNC kit. The CNC kit would have just about the same amount of lock at droop, but as soon as you'd set down the weight of the car, now it's not fully settled because there's nothing on the left front yet, but I've got as much of the weight of the car on it as I can, and it hardly straightened back out at all. So this is pretty wild to me. It is at its minimal setting on the lock stop, which I like how that is made. I could probably take it off, but it looks like if I did take it off, the tie rod would hit. So we'll obviously leave it on there. It's pretty neat that I can adjust it to whatever else. And it would go a little bit more because there's about that much room left. So it doesn't look like the tire will hit. I can't really see. It is close. It is very close. So we'll see where it's at once I get the top hats cut and get the camber added, get the strut where it's supposed to be. But might end up back on a 215 on the front. I liked the car better. It looked better. They're just a lot more expensive because it's an oddball tire. Either way, I'm really happy with this. I'm anxious to see how much better it drives. They say it'll drive totally different than what it did, so we'll see. I'm also going to buy a different front sway bar. It has a factory E46 bar, and I should have put an E36 bar on it when I switched to the CNC kit, but regardless, I'm going to buy a better front sway bar, bigger front sway bar, buy actual better sway bar end links, and overall, I'm happy with this. I'm going to put the other side on tomorrow. I'm going to hit Wild up and ask him a couple questions tomorrow. And like I said, it's Christmas Day. I don't want to bother anyone right now. But regardless, I'm fairly happy with it. And take it all back apart, Loctite what needs Loctited, change what might need changed. And if I have to change anything from the questions I have, I'll approach those then. Regardless, like I said, I'll throw the other side on tomorrow, get the strut towers cut, and then we'll see where it sets, determine when we'll do with my over-fenders, and then go from there. So stay tuned. See you tomorrow. All right, guys, little update. I went ahead and put everything on. I'm actually in a little bit of a hurry because I'm trying to make it to a car meet tonight. But the kit is on, doing some finalized things now. I got to set the toe and stuff, but everything looks good. It's a little hard to steer. To answer questions, this is supposed to be a bolt. Got the proper torque spec for it. Got the factory jam nut off a parts car, so I'm still setting the toes while that's loose. Since I don't have the over-fenders on yet, I'm changing the caster from what Wisefab recommends. So I'm putting some turns on the rear lollipop for the moment and changing all that around. That way it'll clear just to drive tonight, because right now it is murdering the fender and bumper. So we'll get the over-fenders put on before long. This side's still loose because I'm adjusting it. And once I get the caster set, have to raise the car because the tire is literally touching the fender at ride height. So raise it up a little bit, set the toe, and then go drive it. So it's on the ground, and it is definitely wider. I pulled some caster out of it. I think just for the drive for now, until I get my over-fenders on it, I'm gonna have to pull a little bit more caster out of it. And I also raised it a little bit, and I'm gonna have to raise it some more, just because I absolutely don't want to murder my fenders. But regardless, it's on. Strut towers are cut. I like to never got the struts apart. Finally got them though, because I've had these BCs for 3 years. I wish they've got 10,000 miles on them, but they're still really nice. But it is definitely much wider. So you can see the track width compared to the rear. She's a wide girl, but either way, so far so good. So it's now New Year's Day, so Happy New Year, everyone. I know I mentioned Christmas in the same video, but you know, I've been filming for a week. Drove it last night, car drives great. Still having a small steering issue that I was fighting before, so it's not in the angle kit. Just finished filming a burnout video. It was okay. I wish you could hear my rev limiter more in these videos. It is spark cut, it is in the distributor. I can change it, but I can't change the spark cut off and on. So it's like literally like a 25 RPM difference. So it's literally like just so fast you can't hear it on camera hardly. It just sounds like it's hanging at a certain RPM. Either way, I'm super happy with the kit so far. Gonna work on getting the over-fenders fitted, and my cage should be here Wednesday. So be working on getting the interior stripped and start getting that in. So I just went for another drive, did a little street test, fixed my steering issue I was having. This thing drives so good. Just the one little drift I did, it is night and day difference. For you sim guys, it's like going from a G920 to a direct drive wheel. It's incredible. Like, the CNC kit's still good, but this Wisefab kit is insane. I had to raise the car a lot to clear the fenders. I figured I'd go ahead and incorporate this into this video as well. I'm going to go ahead and change this fender out. I have a spare fender off of my wagon. It was rusted, so I got another fender for the wagon. I'm gonna put the rusted fender on here and test fit the overs to see if I like them before cutting up my good fenders. What I call good fenders, as if I didn't grab the corners of them with vice grips to keep the tires from rubbing them. But either way, as long as these overs look how I want them to, I'll cut these fenders up and get them mounted. It's honestly ridiculous how easy it is to get these off. I forgot last winter I painted the inner fenders and taped my number up on the inside of it. Just stupid little things. This car's so easy to change the fenders on though, because the front bumper slides on now, and there's no fender liner, so it makes it super simple. But where the fenders have killed, or have been killed, I should say, by the tires, these tabs like to bend out and makes the fender gap look like crap. So we're gonna do a quick fix on that. The way to fix this tab is just give it a whole done. Fender gap fixed. The top one's fine. It always pulls this bottom one out. So I did this last time I had the fender off. So now let's get the junk fender on. We'll get it cut and see how it goes. I'm test fitting this because I've never done this before. And before I ruin one of my good fenders, I'm gonna ruin an old one, especially as easy as this is to change. Screw it. Well, that took all of about 3 minutes. The whole reason I changed fender on the wagon, kind of obvious. It wasn't this bad on the car. It was just bubbled real bad. After I got it off, I was just screwing around, just kept picking at it, and more of it fell off. But anyway, you know, like I said, as easy as this is, I've never done overs before, so I'm learning as I go. I figured I should probably ruin a fender that's already junked instead of ruining one of my good fenders. Plus, I don't exactly know if my fitment will be how I want it to be. Now, if it's a little too narrow, I can always do just a quick, easy spacer and maybe get the fitment where I want it. But if it's way off from what I'm kind of got in my head, I might sell these fenders and buy Click Tuning's new ones. These are the, they're like the K2s. I think K2 sells a set like them. They might even be K2s. Either way, I think they're 50 millimeter overs and they have the big vent in them. I don't really care for the vent, but I got them for a good deal off Corey Mesco. I do have an idea with the vent if it will work. It just depends on how it looks. But if my fitment's just not like how I want, I'll just resell them and I'll buy the Click Tuning ones. I'm buying their rear overs, but their front ones are like 30 mil and the ones that I have are 50. So just depends on how these look. I know it ain't gonna be great because they're plastic and I just gotta get over the whole drift cars aren't perfect. They're not show car, but I'm still gonna try to get as close as I can. So I will drill these fenders. I'm gonna use, a lot of people use riv nuts and stuff. I'm gonna use pop rivets like we use on the late model. So I know a lot of drift car guys don't care, but I'm being a wuss. Got it all marked, started to cut it. I'm honestly scared I'm gonna cut through something. So even though I can look in and see everything, and I know I won't, I'm still kind of scared I'm going to because that's just the way I am. So I'm gonna pull this fender back off, take it over, lay it on the floor. Plus makes it a little bit easier. Well, it's very poorly cut up, but it's cut up. Obviously, I didn't have to care, and really it don't matter anyway on either fender because it's going to get cut up, but that's the basic outline. So now I'm going to fit the plastic fender on it and see how it looks. So I'm having a little bit of a fitment predicament here. There's a bolt mount tab right here, and when I cut this, which this fender is a little bit bent, so that doesn't really help my case much, but when I cut this, I tried leaving that tab there, and I mean I could take some more off I guess because it goes well up into there, but I feel I probably should leave that mount tab. And I guess it really doesn't matter because it also has this little guy up here that it slides onto, but that's the only thing that holds the fender on, so I might try and cut a little bit more out here, but try and leave some of this meat for this mount tab. The fender, which I could also trim that off, which may end up being the route I go, but we'll see. Well, it's on. Really kind of tempted to just paint this fender so that way I have a good spare in case I ever junk this. So I got to paint the overs anyway. I might just paint that little silver section down there. I got to figure out what I'm going to do here. I'm honestly kind of tempted to just kind of do this number and let it roll. I have to be kind of careful with these fenders because they are plastic, and when I was trimming them, I trimmed up in here. It isn't real pretty, but I'll clean it up. It was breaking, so, and I gotta figure out if I'm gonna do a bumper extension, just kind of leave the look or what. But all in all, for a cheap plastic fender, I can't complain too bad. I was gonna make vent holes that go into the engine bay through the unibody, but there's a lot there, so these may just get backed with something black to cover them up and just be fake vents. But either way, I can't complain. So it's on the ground. Here's a little bit of a comparison. That's stock fender. versus a 50mm over-fender. So my fitment's not quite where I want it, you know, flushness wise. I'm gonna go see if I still have any spacers, just they're slip-ons for now, but I wanna see if I can get the tire to pull out a little bit. And once I get my rod height back fixed, it'll obviously be a lot better. This thing's will be on the ground. But all in all, I mean, really, for a cheap plastic fender, I can't complain. I'm worried severely about breaking them. Kind of wish this was a little bit better, but you know, it is what it is. So, but I'll get all this stuff painted and final fitted. But right now I'm going to see if I still have a spacer. All in all, I'm fairly happy with how this whole setup is. Love how the thing's driving now. That is, you know, and that was with no front bar also earlier. So I gotta get a better sway bar for it yet. I'm going to get the other over fender put on, but first build update for the winter. Cage will be here this week, and we're going to keep rolling with it. So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.